Hi everybody, I'm meteorologist Joe Chaffee. Let's look at the new GFS run overnight. It's very interesting. First off, you can see where the vortex comes down in the east here and comes right over into upstate New York, northern New England, moves off the New England coast. We get our bitter cold air. And here is the next weather system with one part of it dropping into the Great Lakes, and here's that southern stream feature. As it moves along on the GFS, it starts to go negative right along 80 degrees west. And this is important because the further east that it lifts, the further east that you get a track along the eastern seaboard. Now, the other player in all this is a second area of energy that's coming into Minnesota. And this is going to have some impact into how this winds up playing. And as we move it forward, you'll see that. Let me just click it again to make sure it moves forward. It lifts right up along the coast, deepens as it moves up into northern New England. Then you have that second system that kind of, moves in behind it. Can't really get going because there isn't much left to it. But here's the outcome in terms of what we're doing at the surface. And I'm just going to back it up a little bit. And there's your follow your surface low, which is right here. You'll notice that there's some snow that streams out ahead of it. This is from the warm air, the Arctic air pulling out and warm air coming in, and it kind of dries up as it gets here. Now the track of the low is a little further south and a little further east. So on this particular run, the model, while it starts off the coast as rain, starts off inland areas as snow and ice, and then changes it to rain as the low tracks right up along the coast. Now, this is about 50 or so miles further east than where it was on the day run, so that's an important shift. And it would suggest heavy snows, possibly for northeastern Pennsylvania, on northeastward from there, and then the low really deepens as it goes up into Vermont and New Hampshire, so you get very heavy snows being produced up through upstate New York, and eventually it'll extend up into parts of western Vermont, and then on up it goes into Canada. And here's what's the reflection of that second system behind it. Rather weak, produces a little light snow, some light snows as it goes off. Now, the key to all this, again, is going to be how this all phases over time. You don't have a phase going on this run back through here. Instead, it actually isn't even phasing. Really, it just lifts up that southern feature separately as the next one digs behind it. So this is something we're going to have to watch. Now I'll switch over to the Canadian run because we do have enough of it tonight to make it some kind of comparison. And you can see the trough on the Canadian is not, it's a little broader. It's not as deep as it lifts up, and you don't really even see that. There's that second feature, but it doesn't really do much with it. Just kind of moves it along in the flow. But here's that upper trough going negative right along 80 west. So the Canadian's view is a little bit different in that we'll back this up, and it has a weaker system that moves up right along the coast also, and actually would allow for that Arctic high kind of builds back a little bit west-southwestward, so there'll be some cold air trapped here. So if you want to believe the Canadian, it would have snow here by Monday evening, and then it changes over to rain along the coast. Has a large area of ice that develops inland with some snow north and west of that, and then the surface low moves northeastward just west of New York City. But there's a large pressure difference between what the Canadian shows, since it has a weaker low, than the GFS. The GFS has a major storm that moves up just inland of the coastline. Now, let me just pop back over there because I just want to point something out with respect to the GFS. This is one thing that's really important for South Shore residents of Long Island. You're going to have, if this were correct literally, you would have a fairly intense low going by over New York City, and this would probably cause moderate coastal flooding and beach erosion along the South Shore, because you'll have strong south to southeast winds ahead of it, and then the low goes by, and you shift everything back over to the northwest, of course, behind it. So this is still in flux. We'll have to see what the European does. The European has been insisting on taking a deep low, pretty much up the east side of the Appalachians and deepening it, taking it up through central Pennsylvania, and then eventually into upstate New York and beyond. We'll check the European model out tomorrow morning, and rather that would be Friday morning, and we'll see what it does. But this is a little bit of a change from the day run, and we'll just have to see what the subsequent runs do. There's a lot of time here, a lot of things happening aloft with so much energy running around. It's really difficult to pinpoint exactly what's going to happen this far ahead. But in the meantime, get set for the Arctic blast, and we will have our posts up later today concerning all the developments with this weather system in the east.